Hey, everybody. My name is Justin Vom Eigen, and I am interviewing one of my agents today, David M. David sells final expense life insurance 100% over the phone, and he works with us here at our agency, SLS. You see his background there. That's our cultish Zoom background that everybody has on our team. If you have any questions for David or myself, please feel free to shoot me a text message at the cell phone number that you can see right on my video here. It's in two different locations. Questions for me, questions for David. If you're interested in picking David's brain, not picking his nose, picking his brain, please. Picking my brain. If you're interested in working with us here, or if you have questions about sales, just reach out. I'm more than happy to help. So today I'm going to interview David a little bit about his experience here and what's helped him be successful. David's a beast, and he just shows up every day, puts in a ton of effort, and he's found success pretty quickly, and he's working his way up to the top. So David, introduce yourself a little and tell us a bit about your background before joining the agency.
Hello, my name is David. I used to be a store manager, and I did that for about 15 years. Ended up getting some back issues and was filing for disability, and ended up going through a divorce. So I had to quit filing for disability, and ended up coming across Justin's link on Indeed, going through the course, and this one thing led to another. I
Cool.
went through the course, and now I'm here.
Awesome. So what motivated you to start selling final expense?
My brother had passed away, and I seen how our family struggled whenever he passed, and we couldn't afford to pay for his funeral or anything. We all had to come together, and it was a family effort, and we got it done, but it was still hard, and I wanted to be able to help people.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So you saw this as an opportunity to maybe give back a little bit and make some money at the same time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Cool. Good stuff. So, in terms of just getting started here or onboarding and stuff, how was your experience with the training and onboarding process here?
I love it. I've never done insurance before, but I've heard some horror stories, and the support that you get here is you won't get it anywhere else. You have people hop on your calls to help the newer agents. The daily training, that's the main thing, is make sure that you're coachable, listen to what your coaches say. If they tell you to do something, do it, and keep implementing it every day. Just get a little bit better, and it all falls into place.
Well, that's what you've been doing, man. And I think that's a big separator for you is the most successful agents come in and they apply what we recommend. And sometimes we let people figure it out on their own, and you're doing a great job of that. And also, but what I mean is give you the guidance, right? Like say, hey, here's where you can figure this out. We try to help you figure it out and give you some advice along the way, and you apply it, which is huge. So what tips would you give to new agents, either starting with us or just starting in the business in general?
I would say don't give up. It's going to be hard at first, but it'll eventually all click. It might take a little while, but once it's like a floodgate, once it opens, it opens.
Yeah, exactly. It takes some commitment, dedication, and agents here have it a little bit easier than other places in terms of being able to practice. It's still hard to learn, but I'm saying since we provide unlimited leads to our agents, it makes it easier to get that practice in. But some people still don't take advantage of it, and you really have. So it's pretty cool. And if you could go back to David when you started, what tips would you give yourself? Like if you could see day one David right now and give him some advice, what would you give him for advice?
That's a good question. Um, I would say I wish I would have started it much sooner. I really wish I would have started it much sooner. But other than that, I really don't think I would change anything, or I would just make sure that I told myself you better listen to your coaches.
Any
They don't
sales advice that you give yourself in terms of things that you learned that were like, man, that was a game changer for me that you think could help cut back progression time?
rebuttaling. I had a hard problem rebuttaling at first just because of my customer service background. So I did struggle with that for a few months, but as long as you learn the rebuttals and you actually push people, more people are going to buy than you would ever think.
Okay, cool. So just master those rebuttals in both the greeting and the close, right?
Yes.
So can you walk us through a typical day in your life as a final expense telesales agent? Like, what's a successful day look like?
A successful day is, well, usually the least calls the better. If you could be on the phone, that's a successful day. If you're, there's some days are harder. You call all day and don't really talk to people, but a good day, you've only made like maybe 30 phone calls and talked for 7 hours and made
Cool.
3 or 4 sales.
So what does your day look like? Like, let's start people from the morning all the way through to the end. Tell us how many hours you work, what your schedule is like, stuff like that.
I'll get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, just get up, get ready for work, come to my morning meetings. We have about 2 hours of morning meetings, and then I just work all day, at least until I hit my goals. It's either talk time or sales. I mean, either way, I push for the sales, even if I, or even for the talk time, even if I do have the sales, just because I know that that's going to be either more sales tonight or more throughout the day. But usually I'll work from about, I say we start at 9 my time because I'm central, and I'll work till like 8 or 9 in the evening a lot of the times my time.
Cool. So you're working like 12, 13 hours a day, if not more.
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that's what it takes, man. You know, and you're committed to your success. What are some of the biggest challenges you face daily and how do you overcome them?
The biggest challenges is, if you do get rude people, you have to just brush it off your shoulder, forget it, move on to the next one. Um, Pretty much that would probably be the only thing. Maybe if you have a day where people aren't really answering and you can't talk to them, you can't let it discourage you because the clients will pick up on that. You just got to keep going, keep pushing because that next phone call is going to be your sale.
So how do you brush it off? So if you're talking to a new agent that starts and say they get someone who's rude, which we all, if you call people on, if you're in telesales, you're going to get rude people. That's just how it goes. If you're a telemarketer, you're going to get people yelling at you. So what do you do to overcome it? Or you just kind of compartmentalize it and move on?
That's exactly what I do.
Okay.
It's does I just don't let it bother me.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. And sometimes it takes the time to build up that skin and just not care. I try to look at it like this: like, if someone that I love or is close to me or I care about tells me like mean things, then yeah, it hurts. But I started to look at like I would. This may sound kind of condescending, but I would look at the clients as like scared little puppies, so that it was like it just made it like, oh, they're lashing out, you know. So I don't know, that helped me. So what sales techniques have you found to be most successful while selling over the phone? Like what are a couple things, or even if you just think of one thing that you do that helps you be successful in your sales?
The needs analysis. Before I used to just kind of skip over it whenever I first started, and now I'll dive in a little bit deeper in that needs analysis and actually bring the need out for the client, and that makes all the difference in the close. A lot of the times they don't even rebuttal you. They don't even rebuttal you at the close if you do a good enough job in the needs analysis.
Awesome. Cool. So really just asking the right questions along the way,
Hmm.
right? I found that that's something that takes time to learn and that new agents can get like too focused on that sometimes. And then once you get to a point where you're comfortable with your presentation, then it's like, okay, cool. I can kind of dial into this now. I don't know if you relate to that, but you're doing a great job with that, which I can tell from recordings. Any other sales techniques that work well for you that you can give people advice on who are struggling?
You definitely want to make them your friend. they are more prone to buy from you if they think you're a friend, a cool guy just there to happens to sell insurance, you know?
Cool. Awesome. So make a friend, make a sale. You're good at building rapport too. I listen to your calls and you make it very conversational, not transactional. So I think new agents and a lot of agents, you don't have to be new, tend to focus on just the insurance, but focus on the person, guys. I think it's kind of what he's saying there.
Hmm.
So can you share a success story where you closed a particularly challenging sale? Can you think of a time when you closed a sale that was really tough for you?
Yeah, I rebutted a guy for like 45 minutes, and then it ended up being almost a like a $3,400 AP deal.
Wow.
He just kept saying, I need to think about it. I need to talk to the wife. Had everything you could think of. But I did have Nate there helping me. Nate was right there helping me.
Nice. So what he means by that, guy, what do you mean by that? Explain to them what you mean. Nate was there helping you.
Now, whenever you get in a deal here at SLS, we have coaches that will hop in and they will talk to you on the back end and tell you what to say most of the time, if they're available, which most of the time they are. And Nate had hopped in and helped me with that one.
Awesome. Cool. So you got some live coaching interaction. One thing I can think of that was really challenging for me, I had a similar thing. I had this guy who was on medication for bipolar disorder and nothing really came up until the health interview. So you guys are lucky. For American Amicable, I used to have to do an aptical for every sale. So the guy, they were asking him the health questions and he completely lost it. Like I'm talking, he went from happy to so mad. And I had to call him back like 3 or 4 times. He told me I was the worst insurance agent he ever worked with, all this stuff. That was 5 years ago. He still pays his policy today. So those ones that are hard closes are usually good. So you mentioned that you started focusing on building relationship with your clients too.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you build trust and rapport with clients during a phone call?
Well, you can't ask them too many questions in a row. You have to share about yourself or they're never going to open up to you. So I'll usually follow the PEC, ask the questions on the PEC, and then kind of break it up by sharing a little bit about myself and then move further down the PEC as I go. Because as long as you follow the PEC, you're going to get the sale. It'll walk you right through it.
So PEC, guys, is what we call our sales script. It stands for pre-enrollment conversation. All right. So pre-enrollment conversation. That's what it stands for. And it kind of walks through topics and stuff that he can cover for people when building that rapport, building that relationship. And you do a really good job of that. I know a lot agents will struggle with just asking questions, right? So can you dig into that a little bit more about what you mean by sharing about yourself instead of just asking questions?
Well, I'll always try to relate, like depending on the question that I do ask, like, who's going to take care of their final arrangements. If they bring up their daughter and like they say she worked at a grocery store or something like that, I would bring up my past grocery store experience just to kind of just try to find a way to relate to that client and they'll eventually get to like you.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So you ask them a question, they share about themselves, and then you share a little bit about yourself and how you can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Awesome. Now, can you think of a specific memorable interaction that you had with one of your clients when building rapport?
Yeah, but it was a 71-year-old woman and she just kept hitting on me.
Yeah, that's great. That's funny. Yeah, they man, so think of it's funny because if it happens to us guys, then imagine how much it happens to women, right? It's like probably almost every call.
Yes.
So if you guys go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say I was on a call yesterday where a guy I had called him and he said he wanted to buy but wanted to speak with the woman agent that had contacted him before.
Okay, yeah, that's funny. So guys, if as I've said before, if you're interested in working with us, just shoot me a text at the phone number here. Or if you're interested in picking my brain about sales, final expense telesales, or you want to get in touch with David here and ask him some questions because he is the one in the trenches dialing every day right now, just reach out, text me on that phone number that you see right there, the 774-606-6847. So what keeps you motivated to keep pushing through tough days? Because not every day is easy. A lot of days aren't fun, right? So what keeps you motivated to push through on those ones?
Well, like I was saying before, I was filing for disability and going through a divorce and ended up having to move in with my mom and going through a custody battle. And I just keep my eye on the prize. Since I've been here, I've gotten my own place, gotten a car,
Awesome.
gotten everything I needed. A lawyer, got almost have my kids. So
Cool, man. So you're
it's getting there.
awesome, man. That's cool. So you're going through you're working on accomplishing your goals. So those are some pretty strong whys.
Mm.
And how do you stay positive and maintain a winning mindset? Because some of that stuff can be very stressful, right? I mean, divorces are sometimes the most stressful things that people can go through. Issues with children are the most stressful things people can go through. You've been sick. You were living in pretty tough living scenario before getting your own place, which you recently got. So how through all that, how did you stay positive and maintain that winning mindset? Because a lot of people just give up at like the slightest inconvenience.
I just look at all the small things I've already done, and then really they're not small things. I look at all the things I've already accomplished. I know what I want to accomplish, and I'm nowhere close to where I want to be yet. So that's what keeps me pushing.
Cool. So it's like a stepping stone almost, like you're on the way up.
Mm,
Awesome. And you've accomplished a lot in a short amount of time, man. So I think anything you set your mind to, you'll just be, um, you'll make it happen over time.
thank you.
So, what advice? And we'll go back to it a little bit again. So, with that being said, right? If there's someone out there who is struggling, if there's someone out there who does have stresses in their life, what advice would you give to? And by the way, David did live in a disruptive living situation where the who he was living with, it was tough for him sometimes to kind of stay focused on stuff, and there's his own thing he's dealing with. But if someone is having a tough time focusing, they got a lot going on, what advice would you give them if they're considering starting in this?
Just keep pushing. You will eventually get out of it. It's gonna take a little while. Just stay focused. Don't forget what you're working for, and you will get there with SLS.
Awesome. How long would you recommend someone push before they give up?
I would say never give up.
Okay, cool. I like that. Awesome. So before you talked about objections, so how do you handle common objections from potential clients?
Well, like if someone says, I already have insurance, I'll give the rebuttal. I'll just say, well, that's great. I'm not asking you to make any changes. I promise most people I speak with already do have insurance and they find this information pretty valuable. And then I'll just move on. I treat it like a lie most of the time.
Okay, cool. What are the most common things you run into in the beginning of your sales presentation?
I already have insurance. I'm not interested. Um, I didn't do this. Those are like the three main ones.
Okay. Yeah. So not interested, didn't do this, already have insurance. The thing is, guys, you're only going to have a finite number of objections. Like it's all going to boil down to certain things that you're going to run into. So the good thing about that is that you can learn how to overcome them. So if someone says that they're not interested, right, when you call them, how do you overcome that?
That they're not interested. That's great.
Yep.
I'm just here to get you all the information in the shortest amount of time possible so that you can make a decision on your own time whenever you are ready.
Awesome. Cool. And if someone's like, I didn't do this.
a lot of times if they say I
If
didn't
they're like,
do
I
this,
never did that.
yeah, I never did that. I'll just pretty much act like they, I don't know. I, if they say I didn't do that, I'll just be like, bring up, well, maybe someone in your family did, or I would understand if you did forget about this because sometimes it takes so long for us to get back to you. I've got a couple different rebuttals.
Okay, cool. It's just most important thing, guys, is practice, right? Like David's got it down to where I kind of threw him off right there a little bit, but if he's on a sale, he's just got him down to where it's like, boom, because he's in that zone. You know, he's expecting someone. Okay, what they're gonna either. I know when I call someone, they're gonna. If someone doesn't give an objection, it's almost weird, right? It's like
Hmm.
okay, like, so it's like you got to be anticipate they're gonna give me some pushback and memorize those rebuttals because there's only a certain amount you're going to run into. So do your due diligence and, you know, and memorize those. If you guys want a copy of our rebuttals, just go to rebuttalspage.com. It's $39 for lifetime access. And it's actually an interactive website where there's a bunch of objections that come up on the screen. There's a button you press, it pops up and it tells you what to say in a pop-up. So it's really easy to use in real time. What's the hardest objection for you to overcome in the closing?
Well, the hardest objection I would say is budget.
Yeah, I was
Is
going to say I can't afford it.
hmm Yeah, because then you have to kind of dig in and see what they can afford, and then sometimes what they can't afford isn't even worth pushing through the sale. But that was probably the hardest one for me.
Gotcha. And it's tough, guys. We work with fixed income seniors. Some of them think that, you know, it's 1930 and you can get $1 million of life insurance for 20 bucks a month. It's just not the case. So you're going to run into people who can't buy. I recommend that people who can't buy, you try to get referrals from. So if they can't afford it, try to use referrals. We have a system here where we're able to give people $5,000 of accidental death or $1,000 of accidental death insurance for each person that they give us as a referral, up to $5,000 in coverage, whether they buy or not. So it's an easy way to be like, hey, I know you're struggling right now, you can't afford it, but or you know, this isn't at the time for you to get it. But I actually can get you. We have a program for people in your situation where we can get you up to $5,000 of accidental death coverage for $0 a month. All it takes is 5 names and numbers of people I should reach out to, and I can reach out to go over this. So who's the first person you can think of that I can reach out to so you can get your first $1,000 of coverage? And you know, we can handle it like that. But I'm talking too much now. So how has working as a final expense agent impacted your personal and professional growth? Like, how have you felt your growth personally and professionally since you started?
I have, yeah, I definitely have. It's impacted everything. I mean, I my self-esteem was really bad before being a stay-at-home dad and filing for disability. Didn't really have much. Well, I won't say I didn't have drive, but I didn't have very much to look forward to. Now it's
Yeah,
like every morning I get up and I've got something to look forward to. Build the books, get money, make my life better. Me and my kids is.
cool. So it sounds like you kind of just got so sick of not working that you just want to crush working right now.
Hmm. Well, I was always the worker before, but then when I started having back issues, they got rid of
Oh
they got rid of me. So,
man, yeah, and then you never really have a choice there, right?
because I've always been just a worker, and then that's why this I don't even consider work because I'd work, like 12, 13, 14 hours of actual work, and then I
Yeah.
do this, and it's easy, just hit a button.
Yeah, literally, you just hit a button. It's like, and you talk to people, you know. So how do you think you've grown personally? Like, what changes have you made as a person? Do you think, or can you think of any others other than ones you just mentioned?
Um, I mean, I've always been kind of the same. Um, I know I'm more disciplined. I'm more disciplined. Like I get up at 5. I have a routine. I keep the same routine every day. I do know that, and I didn't used to do that before.
Cool. Well, that's a big deal because you get into a groove, right? You like if everyone's day is if all your days are different, you can't settle into a groove, right? So you got to get that momentum built up from that. So that's huge. And I think it's been really cool seeing you develop and evolve from the David that started just a few months ago. I mean, how long you been here? 6 months?
Yeah. Yeah,
Almost.
6
Yeah.
months.
Yeah. So the David I met 6 months ago compared to today, completely different person. You look different. I can tell on the phone you sound more confident. In your interactions with other people, you sound more confident. You step up in a leadership role where you help people, you put yourself out there, and it's been really, really cool to see you grow, man. So
I
it's awesome.
appreciate it. I love the opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. What skills do you think you've developed since you started here?
Definitely gotten better at sales. I mean, I still need work. There's always room for improvement for anybody, but I've definitely gotten better at sales.
Cool. Awesome. So that just comes with practice too, right? Like we have daily training, but a lot of the training that people have to do is just training on how to work because it only works if you work it. So like you can do all the sales training in the world, but if you don't know how to work, then it doesn't even matter because you're implementing, you're implementing that stuff over time on the calls. So what are your future goals within the business and here?
Well, I would like to eventually move up to coaching and maybe even build a team one day, get into the ambassador program and be right there with you.
Awesome. I'd love that. Cool. So you want to move into leadership and help people learn what you learned.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. I think you'd be really, really good at that. How do you plan to do that?
Well, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing right now, at least for the first year, and then start recruiting people from the website that you gave us the other day.
Yep.
Slowly but surely build onto it. Maybe get some training on you on how to start YouTube and all that for
Yeah, man. I think you'd be good at it. Also too, I'll help you build the team. So,
Wow.
all I have to do is increase our recruiting programs and we'll help you build the team there. Now, in terms of what's the most rewarding part of selling insurance for you?
I know that I'm helping families. I'm helping my family as well, but I know that I'm helping families whenever their loved ones pass, they're not going to have to deal with what we did with my brother. And that's
No.
probably like the main thing. I mean, the money's nice too, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
that I am helping families too. I feel like I'm doing a good thing.
No, I think you are too. What's really cool, guys, is you can hear one of David's sales calls. I should have mentioned this earlier in the video, but if you check in the description of the video, you're going to see actually one of David's sales calls that I posted, and I'm going to be posting 3 of them. They were supposed to go all together in the same thing, but my video editor did them individual, and it took him like way longer than I thought. And it was like $500 to edit all 3. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to do them instead of one big one. I'm going to do them individually because I got to space that out. But you're going to see one in the chat. I mean, one in the description of the video, and it's going to be like a 3-part series. So you're going to hear 3 calls from David. I'm probably going to release like one a month, and we'll go from there. But you can hear David on an actual sales call by looking at the video in the description of this video. Do you do anything to stay connected with your clients to keep a relationship with them? I know you've only been here 6 months, so like that once a year reach out thing hasn't been there yet. But.
I have clients that text me every day.
Oh, really?
I'll shoot a text. I'll sometimes call them, usually just from my cell phone. I'll do it on my downtime a lot of times because whenever I'm working, I want to make new sales. So when I'm off or something, I'll shoot them a text or give them a call.
Cool. It's important, and it's good to build that because you know that those people are going to stay on the books and they're going to be likely to add insurance and give you referrals. So I know you don't have a ton of free time with how much you work, but when you do get free time, what do you like to do?
Usually, just if I don't have my kids, I'll talk with them, and then for a couple hours, maybe cook some dinner, then go to bed, get up and do it again.
Okay, cool. Cool. So hang out with the kids, and that they're your why. So that makes sense. Can you share a fun fact about yourself that we may not know?
Hmm. That's a good question. I don't know what's
Think of a life experience or something you're good at or something that you used to do as a hobby or something like that. Anything you can think of.
um I love to play video games. I'm really good at video games.
Oh, nice. What games?
Apex.
You're really good at Apex?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I haven't played Apex, but I played it a couple times. But Apex is the type of game where it's like when you play Apex, you play Apex, right? So, like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, it's like, so it's, I played with my cousin and his friend, and um, one of them plays Apex a lot. And I was just like, no, I'm good. I got grouped with like the high ranking players, and it wasn't even, I think that's the game I got, smoked in. But
When I don't have my kids, that's usually if I'm hanging out with them, I'm playing the game with them.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
We'll
So you
all play
guys have
together.
that. Yeah. So you guys have that in common. Cool. Awesome. Well, David, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to do this. If you guys enjoyed listening to this, if you'd like to get in touch with myself or David, text me at the number that's on the screen right here, 774-606-6847. If you want to talk to David, talk to me, ask me about sales, ask him about sales, ask about working with us and what we look for. We provide unlimited leads at no cost to our agents at 55% commission plus bonuses. And you can work all the way up to 80% commission plus bonuses in our free lead program. I guess free lead, quote unquote, right? Because it's a reduced commission percentage, but still works out in the agent's favor. You get full training, people hopping on your calls to help you close your sales, all different types of leads, outbound, inbound, back office to help keep your business on the books. We include E&O insurance, a CRM. It's fully customized for final expense telesales, daily training calls, monthly boot camps. So we got like the full package here, and one-on-ones with me if you put in the work. So appreciate it, David. Thank you so much, man. And you guys want to check the video in the description to listen to one of David's calls or watch the next video coming up, which is going to go over how Peter sold 84,000 AP his second month in the business. Thank you, guys.